What's up, y'all? It's your girl Zeze back with another Mother 11 vid. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on my notifications bell, get a joint, thumbs up, share this mug, all that. You feel me? So, first of all, sorry for the congestion if I sound a little stuffy. But anyways, shout out to the Omnis Roan for sending me this post on Facebook. I found it quite interesting and yet also revealing, okay, to some of the reasons behind so many black women. You see so many young black women as myself rebelling and, not listening to some of these older women, some of these older black women. And I don't know who exactly the person who posted this is. I think I looked at her Facebook page. I think she's some sort of dating coach or dating influencer, something to that effect. And this actual post got a lot of interaction. So I just kind of want to get my 2 cents on it because, yeah, like I said, very interesting and telling. So let's get into it. Message to women in your 20s. Now, this is to women in their 20s. I am 25, so she talking to me, okay? Your developmental milestones take priority. We are no longer in the Stone Ages. Marriage at this age in the U.S. is not priority in your 20s. Be careful for men who want to take you off the market at such an opportune time as your 20s. Your developmental milestones take priority. That's kind of true. You start to really get into your adulthood, figuring out things from your childhood, healing the inner child, starting to understand how some of your programming and your perspective affects your interactions with other people, especially men, relationships you have. So yeah, there are a lot of developmental milestones in your 20s. I do think you should still be trying to prioritize marriage in your 20s. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get married in your 20s. Even though I do suggest you should, shout out to Kevin Samuels, you hit the wall at 27, so you need to be looking for a husband around 25, 23, okay? But there are wise elders such as Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. She mentioned inside her book, The ISIS Papers, how really all black people, honestly, shouldn't be looking towards marriage or shouldn't be trying to be married until at least they're 30. And I think she said to have children around 32 to 35. But she really advocated for that because she understands the predicament our people have been in the past 400 years. And she wants us to have time to develop into a place of emotional maturity where we are able to actually sufficiently be able to raise children. So I can understand that. But with this, however, she's trying to make the point of just saying developmental milestones. And like I said, there are a lot of developmental milestones, but this is a little vague and she's going to go a little further down into it. Okay, so I think the reasoning behind her saying this is different than Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. Even if you are planning to just get married and waiting until you're 30, even in your 20s, that doesn't mean that you're not prioritizing it. That should still be at the top of your list. That should still be something, a goal you're trying to work towards is attracting a husband, getting a husband, and keeping one, okay? And then building with him and passing that on to your children. And then she goes on to say that you need to be careful of men who's trying to take you out of the market at such an opportune time. That doesn't even make sense to me because if your 20s is your prime, why would you wait until you're out of your prime where you're going to have less options to want a man to choose you? Remember, you do the choosing, not him. You have an entire life ahead of you and a world to see. I want you to use your 20s exploring you, learning you, loving you, understanding you. 20s is a critical part of your development and is not for someone to come expecting you to commit to their goals or plan. Stick to your plan. Sure, you are choosing, but you're choosing after you've already been chose. You don't have the same freedoms of a man to necessarily choose your mate in the same way they do. Women are attracted to a man's resources, though, a man's work ethic, a man's ambition, a man's focus, a man's drive, a man's level of protection, a man's level of provision, etc., etc. Whereas on the other hand, women, if you were born, men are visual, okay? And I'm not saying it's the only thing. There's other things you can make up for your looks as far as when you talk about femininity and wisdom, intellectualism, things of that nature, but also men are very visual, okay? So if you're an ugly ass woman, let's just be blatant. If you're an ugly woman, it's only so much you can do to help that, okay? There's always going to be a certain group of men who you're not going to attract. You won't have access to because they don't want no ugly woman. Your woman is a representation of you. Not only just an ugly woman, but even obese women who are overweight. Certain men, there are certain calibers of men who are you're more than likely not going to attract because you're overweight and they're looking for a woman who is fit, feminine, and friendly. Fit. being number one. Now I see a lot of women use this excuse too of, oh, you should travel the world in your 20s. You don't want to stay in one spot. You want to travel the world. Da, da, da. Now that sounds all fine and dandy, but we also have to be realistic here. A lot of women don't enjoy working. If you want to travel, that costs money. If you're doing this on your own, okay, like most of these women, independent, modern women want to do on their own, you're going to have to work. And a lot of us do not want to do that, especially not to the extent where we would have to in order to afford to travel as much as some of these women tell us to or say that we can. Especially with everything going on right now, a lot of inflation's going on, gas alone, food, I mean, necessities alone, even rent. Matter of fact, not even just her. I just seen, shout out to the Black Authority. He just did a video on his business channel about how women can't afford to live on their own anymore. And he was pointing out all of these different major city areas where the rent is skyrocketing. And so let's just be real here, ladies. A lot of us, yeah, we want to travel and things of that nature, but we're going to be too busy working to be able to travel like that. And then even besides that, like you know what? I actually manifested me traveling in 2020 and in 2021. However, I kind of came to a place, and actually, again, shout out to Black Authority. He was talking about this as well on his business channel, like going out with like other women is kind of played out. Like I'm not pressed to go out with other women anymore. Like I would rather travel with my man. I believe he even said like that's something that men like to do, is like be able to show you places for the first time. If you already been to Paris and Egypt and Dominican Republic and all these other places, like what left do they have to show you? You know what I'm saying? Like where is the exploration they can lead you into, even if they haven't been there? Feeling of it being special out of the trip when you're doing it with your man, if you've already done it, especially if you've done it multiple times. I mean, it's not like I'm not going to go anywhere this year, but I'm not pressed to go that many places anymore without a man. Like, especially if you're talking about out the country, I'm not trying to go out the country 15, 20,000 miles away, okay, outside of the country with a bunch of women where I'm unprotected and vulnerable, or to a bunch of group of people I don't even know, and I may not even speak the same language. Like that is wild. Like why would I want to put myself in that predicament? Now, lastly, she's talking about sticking to your plan. We have to understand as women, a lot of us, the plan that we think we have, we don't even end up sticking to, whether that's on purpose or not. Like when you decide to have a family, that changes the trajectory of what a lot of women, modern women more specifically, think that they wanted out of life or think that they wanted to do. One of my older sisters, I had her up here for an interview. I had all my sisters up here for an interview. I should go check them out. But I had her up here for an interview, and she was talking about how she was really, wanted to be a lawyer. She went and got a law degree, took the bar exam, all these other things, passed, and was really could have been a practicing lawyer. However, she had a child. She got married and got a child. And had a child. And her man was like, "What? You don't need to work. Like I can handle all this. You could be a stay-at-home mother and stay without baby. Like I don't really want nobody else watching our child." And she didn't want that either. When she had a child, she realized like I don't really want nobody watch, especially not in the first critical years 1 through 5. I'm not wanting nobody to be influencing my child more than myself. She decided to be a stay-at-home mom. And then after that, she started having more babies. Now she got about 5, 6 kids. Okay. So that whole lawyer plan has been completely on the back burner. She ain't worked in 10, 11 years now since she had her first child. And she's completely okay with that. Like she's completely fine with that. Happy at that because she's able to be home with her children and teach her children. And that's the case for a lot of women. A lot of women tend to go down that route as well. Even if they don't necessarily become full stay-at-home moms like my sister, they might still want to have more time to focus on their children outside of work. So part-time jobs, they do pursue their career, they're not pursuing it as steadfast or consistently as they could. They're not looking for promotions, things of that nature. Like they're not going as hard as they would if they didn't have a family. And besides that, like I kind of think that somebody has to come first, and that's in every sense. Even when you're talking about a career, one of y'all have got to put your own stuff on the back burner in order to help the other one progress. Of course, this isn't in every case, but in a lot of cases, yeah, especially if your man is trying to get a promotion in his job, if he's trying to attain some sort of certificate or degree to get a higher level position, if he has to work overtime or do more hours because he has to put more work in to attain a higher level at whatever he's doing, and yeah, you're going to have to put your own thing on the back. Both of y'all can't be going hard at work, because where does that leave the children? Whose hands are you leaving the children in? You marry and commit when it is aligned to your soul's desires. You no longer owe society an explanation for your relationship decisions. Manifest a healthy marriage by marrying when you yourself have done the work and attracted your ideal mate. You are the most desired woman on the planet in this decade. Don't let some man come and rob you of your youth and keep you for his own selfish needs. Like, I don't like this vague language. You marry and commit when it's aligned with your soul's desires. What does that even mean? And no, you might not owe society for your relationship decisions, but you're damn sure gonna owe your children. Because if you end up 35 alone with two kids and two baby daddies, whatever the case may be, no consistent father in the home, no husband, yeah, your children are going to be looking at you, and the people in your life who are helping you out are going to be looking for an explanation on the decisions you made about relationships. Even if it's not as soon as 35, 40 years old, even if it's when you get to 70, 80, and your ass end up in a retirement home because don't nobody want to take care of you, you going to owe somebody some explanations. If it ain't going to be nobody, it's going to be yourself. Manifest. Okay, first of all, I don't like all this whole fake me out manifesting love. Like, too many women get wrapped up in this. Okay, look, I believe in manifestation, but also it takes work. It also takes self-reflection, shadow work, emotional maturity, like Dr. Francis Quest Wilson said. This whole attracting your ideal mate. Like, you realize that, again, like she says later on, you're the most desired woman in this on the planet in this decade. So why don't you think that it would be more likely for you to attract your ideal mate when you're at your peak level of being desired rather than later on after that, after you've hit the wall? I mean, again, it doesn't even make sense. And here's another reason why we not listening to y'all as well, because a lot of these older Black women have this disdain, have this traumatized, this hurt, this just straight up bad faith arguments, okay, when it comes to getting with men or being married. Don't let a man rob you of your youth so he can keep you for his own selfish need. Why do you think that a man is trying to rob you of something? Why is this not thought of as like, this is something I need to, even damn me, because everything that she's named up until this point is about the woman, is about what she wants and her needs and desires and all this other stuff. Well, what about the obligation for the community? What about the obligation to bettering our families as a whole in general, to to progress our communities, to dismantle the system of white supremacy and replace it with a system of justice? That starts with a Black family unit. That's something outside of yourself. What about the bigger picture? Why can't that man be trying to attract that woman, trying to get with that woman because of that? Why can't you as a woman be looking for that for that? She hasn't mentioned that one time about it being for duty, about community, about obligation, about for community. That's what marriage really is for. That's what the family unit is for. Your needs come first. This decade is all about development, developing the mind, body, self-esteem, enhancing the beauty you have. Marriage could potentially sabotage your development at such a young age, especially when you are so desired by so many. You could end up settling if you are not careful. Never forget that you choose, not him. Your needs come first. They really shouldn't. The needs of the community should come first. And what our community needs is the reunification of the Black man and Black woman, the Black family nuclear unit, period. Okay, I think Shahrazad Ali even said this. I don't know if it was specifically in her book, but I know she talked about it in her interview once, and how basically, actually it was in her book, but she talked about how main things a women need. I know it was wisdom. It was two other things. I don't know why I always lose other, but wisdom always holds on to me for some reason. But she was like, most women are only going to come to the table with two of those things. The third one is going to have to be developed by your man. You're going to have to kind of guide her to that third aspect. I think a lot of women miss that a part of your development is also with your man. Most of our women going to have to settle anyways. It's not settling. Getting a man is not settling. That's just having a man. You should be grateful for that. Ain't no damn settling around here, especially in the Black community. We can't afford to settle. You need to get a man. Okay, we don't have the luxury, the privilege of thinking, oh, okay, I might have to settle. When you go onto the market, your options are pretty much in place. That's what you can attract. Those are the caliber of men that you can attract. Again, you can kind of change that with certain things, levels of femininity, things of that nature. However, with men, it's a lot different. They have their whole lives to build resources, to build things that women really are attracted to in men. That's why men can wait until they're 40, 50, and even 60 to get married and still get married to a woman that's 20, 30 years younger than them. Again, this just showed the level of bad faith that a lot of our women have. And this is not something I would listen to an older woman tell me without, a rebuttal. Like, I'm not about to sit here and like, this is nonsense. And honestly, it's a little sad to see, because we do need that influence. We do need our older sisters. We do need our mothers, our aunties to guide us. Okay. But some of y'all is just not going to cut it. Okay. Some of y'all is just, you're too far gone for me to take advice from. You're too far gone, and you're not even in the predicament. I guarantee you this woman is, I almost guarantee you this woman who posted this ain't married. There's a lot of women who think like this are not even in the predicament, okay, where we want to be. And so those of us who know that we don't want those results, we're not listening to women like this. We're rebelling against women like that. We're going against the grain with women like this. We're listening to the other elders like the Shahrazad Ali's, the rest in peace, the ancestors like Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. We're listening to those women. Okay, we got to go back a little bit further to listen to some of our women, because some of these, it's too many of them that's lost. But shout out to the sisters that's out here who are the big sisters, the aunties, the mothers, the real elders who are speaking that real to our women who are promoting us getting back with our men, because they know that's a necessity for our progress as a people. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. What did you think of the post? Did you think this was helpful for some of the women in their 20s? Do you think that what was your takeaway, okay, for the women in their 20s and even the men who read this? What was your perspective on how she's speaking and what she's telling, what advice she's giving to some of our women in our 20s like myself? Anyways, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, get us a thumbs up, share this mug, all that. Other than that, baby, that's all I got. All right, y'all.
We do not play but our green. You fuck with the team, might find your west in the creek. We crossing our T's, we don't never miss it.